Welcome to Aging Insight with your host, John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by
Welcome to Aging Insight. We're glad to be back with you. I'm Lisa Schollmeyer, and this is John Ross. And we are elder law attorneys based here in the Arklatex area. And we bring Aging Insight to you so that you can get information that you need, because we all look forward to things like retirement and enjoying just a slowing down a little bit in life and enjoying family and friends. And part of that enjoyment comes from taking care of ourselves and our business, and Aging Insight is just here to provide you a little advice and information on that journey.
That's right. And while the aging process should be nice and easy, there's still some landmines out there, some things that you need to know about, and that's why we bring this program, is so that we can maybe point you in the right direction on a few issues and hopefully answer some questions and maybe even prevent a problem before it ever rears its head.
Yes. So
now, of course, part of that information, we see people in our office all the time, several times a day. Folks are coming in, they're asking about a whole range of stuff. They might have somebody who's facing a long-term care need. They might have somebody in the hospital. They may be planning for a disabled child. Or they may have a perfectly normal situation and they're just trying to make sure they've got everything set up. But there's such a wealth of information out there that somebody might need, that a lot of times we will have somebody come in and maybe it's I think of one particular lady, and she came in, she had a relatively small amount of Social Security income, $900 a month, something relatively small. And she had been living okay, but when not a lot of savings, and with that little bit of income, things start getting kind of tight. She wasn't living poorly or anything. She was just, money was tight.
and she was on a very limited budget.
Very limited budget. And she was coming in to talk about, planning on who some of her personal knickknacks would go to and some different ways about all of this. But in the process, I was able to, I asked her about her income and things like that. And I noticed that her income was relatively low. And I also noticed that her Social Security was a round number. Well, if it's a round number, that immediately tells me something. When I'm thinking about somebody's Social Security, before it's ever deposited into your bank account, they've already deducted the Medicare Part B premium, which right now is about $104.90. So your Social Security, your actual Social Security amount, would usually be something like $809.40, and then they deduct that, so what's actually deposited is $700, or like in this case, probably got $1,000 and $1,009 and $1,004.90. They deduct that, she gets this $900.
Mm-hmm.
But I was telling her, I was like, well, with your income being as low as it is, there are other benefits that you probably didn't even know about. For example, there's something called the Qualified Medicare Beneficiary.
So a qualified Medicare beneficiary.
Yeah, and this is called the QMB program. And it's a Medicaid program where the state actually picks up the cost of that $104.90, where the state pays your Medicare premium if you're below certain income limits. And there's a whole range of these. There's the QMB program, the SLMB program, and a whole bunch of others based on your income, your asset limits, and some different things.
Yeah.
And ultimately what this lady needed was to apply for it.
Right. So, and when she applied for that QMB program, essentially with the state Medicaid program picking up and paying her Part B Medicare premium, that left an extra $105 a month in her pocket. And a single person, $105, I mean, that's grocery money, that's utility money, that's fill up the car a couple of times with gas money. It makes a real difference when your income is very low. Just even a program like the QMB program, which lets that recipient keep that extra $105.
Right. Just a few bucks here and there, but on somebody with such a limited budget, that $100 makes a huge difference. Now, I'm telling this lady, and this lady's very nice, but her immediate question is, okay, well, how do I do this?
Yeah.
And I said, well, you contact Medicaid, you get the appropriate paperwork, which of course it's the government, so there's going to be lots of paperwork,
yes.
And you fill it out. And she's like, John, this is more. She's like, I really could use this $100, but this is more than I need. Could you help me? And we in our practice at least, we offer free consultation so that people can get the information. But there's a time commitment that goes into filling out an application like that.
Yes.
And ultimately, with 4 teenagers who also want to eat and do things like that, that we want to be able to point somebody to resources where they can get that without having to pay for somebody like us. It doesn't make sense for her to pay an attorney to fill out paperwork when there's other people who will do it for free.
That's right. And when you say, hey, you can get, there's a benefit program where you can keep that extra $100 a month, all you've got to do is apply for it. And then we can point her to a live person that she can meet with that will fill out the paperwork for her, get that submitted on her behalf. That job goes from being scary and overwhelming to a lifeline.
That's exactly right. And so what we wanted to kind of talk about today was there's actually a range of different services that are out there that are free. They're either charitable entities or they're government-sponsored programs where you can get good quality advice without having to worry about hiring an attorney and doing those sort of things. And particularly depending on a person's situation, those are often the first place that you ought to start looking, because you can get a little bit of guidance. Now, obviously, those things are not going to be as sophisticated as some others. So if you have a very complicated situation, that's probably not going to be out there. But what we wanted to do was talk about some of those different community resources that are available out there. And at the end of today's program, we're going to tell you how you can get a guide listing all of these various services. But before we jump all into it, I think we ought to take a quick break.
Sure.
And so we'll stick around. We'll keep talking about this after this break.
The Wadley Senior Clinic has been such a blessing for our family. Because they specialize in geriatric care, they take the time to really focus on Dad's needs. Their exam rooms are specially designed for seniors, and they offer lab and x-ray on site. With monthly educational programs on health and wellness of the mind and body, our healthcare questions get answered. Best of all, they accept Dad's Medicare benefits. See what the Wadley Senior Clinic can do for you. Wadley Senior Clinic, where healthy relationships begin.
Hi there, I'm Larry Sims. It's been my privilege for the past several years to be a volunteer board member of Hospice of Texarkana, and there I'm able to represent community members like you. We continually customize our end-of-life care to better meet the needs of our community. As an example, our medical director and nurse practitioner still make visits to homes and facilities. Call today to learn more about the help we can give your family. Hospice of Texarkana, the nonprofit hospice established in 1985 for the community, by the community.
Welcome back to Aging Insight, everybody. I'm John Ross here with Lisa Scholmeyer, and today we're talking about resources that are available in the community for seniors where you can get some advice, maybe get a little assistance with this or that. We wanted to talk about a few of those, some of our personal favorites, some that frankly we rely on oftentimes as a place that when people don't necessarily need our services, we can send them where we know that they're going to get good information. And we started the program with talking about a lady who had questions about Medicare or Medicaid. And in both sides of our state line, and frankly all over the country, there is a government-sponsored program where they created what are called Area Agencies on Aging. And so on the Texas side of the state line, we have the Texarkana Area Agency on Aging, and on the Arkansas side, we have the Southwest Arkansas Area Agency on Aging. And both of these programs, they offer these organizations, they offer a number of different programs. This is where you get your Meals on Wheels, for example, and some of that. But one of their best abilities is they have benefit counselors, people who are specially trained to look at your situation and see whether or not you could be eligible for some of the programs that we talked about: Medicare, Medicaid, QMB, SLMB, community-based in-home care, and all of these other different programs. And this is a government-sponsored program, so these benefit counselors are free. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, even right now with the open enrollment period for Medicare, where people are signing up for insurance, if you've got questions, you want to review your plan, they have somebody there that'll do it for you.
So, you know, these Area Agencies on Aging, that's a AAA, but not the automobile count.
AAA,
yeah, not
right.
that AAA. But the Area Agencies on Aging, you know, they're one of our best kept secrets, I think, in the community, and they don't want to be a secret. They want to be a resource to our seniors in our community. And so these benefits counselors, this is a live person that you can sit down and meet with that will help you navigate through Medicare Advantage programs that might be out there that might fit your needs, Medicare Part D drug plan programs that have your drugs on the formulary list of their program. Also, any additional benefits, utility benefits, food assistance benefits, premium payment assistance with your Medicare. These benefits counselors, they are trained and aware of all of these things that are out there. And what you do is you call your Area Agency on Aging. For our Texas side residents, there's an actual location on Elizabeth Street. And for our Arkansas residents, their main office is in Magnolia, but they do come to Texarkana and set up a day once a week, once every other week. You actually get to meet with a person who listens to you, looks at the drugs that you take, gets information about your income, your needs, and then matches you up with various programs that you may benefit from, some of which you don't even realize are out there. And we know that you all as seniors are often on a very limited income, limited budget, and may have medical needs that need to be addressed. So these benefits counselors are just a fabulous resource.
Right, and they can help you fill out the paperwork. They can make sure you're going in the right direction. It really is a great resource. And that's on top of, like I said, the Meals on Wheels, which is another program that they do. And here's the beauty of it. You know, theoretically, you should be able to get this same kind of information, say, directly from Medicare or directly from Medicaid. The problem is that most actual government agencies, like the Department of Health and Human Services or the Center for Medicare Services, there are people that answer the phone while they attempt to be as helpful as they can. The one thing that those organizations are absolutely prohibited from is giving you advice. And so if you're calling Medicaid and saying, well, you know, what are my options out there, they actually can't tell you. If you ask a specific question, say, am I eligible for the QMB program? They can tell you yes or no based on the information you submit. But you couldn't just, for example, call and say, hey, here's my situation, what's available to me?
Right, they'll just say, well.
But with the Area Agency on Aging, that's exactly what you can get.
Yeah.
And of course, the other service that they offer over there is the Nursing Home Ombudsman Program.
Yeah, that ombudsman program, this is an ombudsman, that's just a fancy word for an advocate or a go-between. So we have volunteer ombudsmen who go to training, and they are there in order to facilitate communications between a patient, the patient's family, and a nursing skilled facility or assisted living facility. Sometimes things can get out of kilter, I guess you could say, and the facility doesn't seem to be listening to the family or the patient. The patient has concerns that has not yet been addressed by the facility. So the area agencies on aging have an ombudsman that is part of their office, that their sole job is to try to resolve problems with families, patients, and facilities.
You know, and of course, you know, for example, I had some folks and they came to me and their father was at a facility and they felt like he needed more treatment, more services than what he was getting. The facility wasn't talking to them, wasn't telling them, and they're coming to me saying, well, John, what is it that I can do?
And getting a lawyer involved is usually not the way to
Right.
solve that problem.
Yeah, if you're trying to resolve a dispute, just the word attorney is usually going to put people on edge.
Sure.
Now that's despite that most of these nursing homes, they know us well enough.
Right.
And so we can communicate with them. But this is the perfect type of situation where I can say, look, contact the area agency on aging, get involved with the ombudsman, have them see if they can coordinate and figure out where the gap in the communication is coming from and seeing if they can resolve that. And so there's lots of services over there. If you're not familiar with the Agency on Aging, get familiar with them. They're a good resource, and it doesn't matter. Do they have low-income programs? Yes, but their stuff about Medicare and the advice about the Medicare plans, that applies to anybody who's eligible for Medicare. The ombudsman is available to anybody who's in a nursing home.
Right. So, you know, as we close up this segment on the Area Agency on Aging, I would encourage all of you out there as we roll into open enrollment time, if you are a Medicare insured person, then you need to call up the Area Agency on Aging and go ahead and book your appointment with the benefits counselor so that you can review your Medicare coverages, whether you're on an Advantage plan or a Part D plan. And you know, time is short because you have until November 15th to make those changes, but that benefits counselor can really help.
All right, so that's a good one. We're going to talk about a couple more when we come back from this break, so stick around.
Hi there, I'm Larry Sims. It's been my privilege for the past several years to be a volunteer board member of Hospice of Texarkana. And there I'm able to represent community members like you. We continually customize our end-of-life care to better meet the needs of our community. As an example, our medical director and nurse practitioner still make visits to homes and facilities. Call today to learn more about the help we can give your family. Hospice of Texarkana, the nonprofit hospice established in 1985 for the community, by the community.
I'm so glad we found the Wadley Senior Clinic. Their team specializes in caring for older adults, and their doctors listen and work with me to keep me healthy and independent. With monthly educational programs, x-ray and lab, and state-of-the-art exam rooms, I get expert care and understanding about what I'm going through. Best yet, they're easy to get to right off the interstate at Jefferson. See what Wadley Senior Clinic could do for you. Wadley Senior Clinic, where healthy relationships begin.
Welcome back to Aging Insight. I'm Lisa Scholmeyer here with John Ross, and today we're talking about community resources that are available to our seniors, typically for free, that are resources to help seniors navigate through a lot of the issues that they face, whether it be with Medicare health issues, home repairs, all kinds of things. So John, we talked about the Area Agency on Aging and how under one roof they have a lot of different programs
Absolutely.
for seniors, but that's not the only resource that's out there.
No, there's actually lots and lots of resources out there, and it all kind of depends. You know, it's almost like if you have a situation, there's a resource there. And so, you know, you have, for example, you have a couple of charitable organizations like the Alzheimer's Alliance and Opportunities Inc., both of which offer various services geared towards seniors. For example, the Alzheimer's Alliance, you know, if you're dealing with dementias, they have resource guides, they have support groups, and they have a day respite center, a place where if you're the caregiver for that person with Alzheimer's, you can drop that person off where they're going to be entertained. They're going to have a much better day than you are because they're having a blast, but that also gives that caregiver a break and an opportunity to go to a doctor's appointment or go to a movie or just sit and in the quiet for a little while and not have to be a caregiver. And Opportunities.
Yeah, Opportunities has a senior day center that is open 5 days a week that offers medically supervised care for the day for a senior. And so a lot of times we have families where a senior may be living with or near an adult child, but that adult child is still having to work, and the senior doesn't need to be left alone all day. So essentially this senior has a place to go at Opportunities where they are going to get their medications properly, they're going to get their meals, they're going to have socialization, and it's available 5 days a week.
As well as some senior housing.
Yes, Opportunities also offers some low-income senior housing. So a lot of folks sometimes when they lose a spouse or if they lost some income, it can really put their housing at risk. So we do have some housing available, and it's just a lifesaver.
Right. You know, and one of the other organizations out there is one called Hands On Texarkana, which has several different programs, but one of the ones that I really like is, you know, if you're age 85 and you're still operating a motor vehicle, that's all fine and dandy. But at age 85, your risk of being in an auto wreck is exactly the same as the risk of my 16-year-old. And since I've ridden with my 16-year-old, that should give you some cause for concern. And again, there are good 16-year-old drivers and there are good 85-year-old drivers. But, you know, it's not uncommon maybe for you to be okay during the day, but as the light gets dim in the evenings, it can be more difficult. Maybe you're normally okay to drive, but right now you're having some health issues and you need a ride to the doctor or something like that. Well, Hands On Texarkana coordinates a volunteer program where you can get with them and a volunteer will come over, pick you up, and take you where you need to go. Maybe you could go shopping, we go to the grocery store, go to a doctor's appointment. And so they've got some different stuff out there. In fact, if the folks from there are watching, they would kill me for not saying that if you are that good driver, you could probably volunteer.
That's right, you can volunteer.
You know, same thing with Alzheimer's or same thing with Opportunities. You know, if you want to come over and entertain folks at the Day Respite Center, they'd be more than happy to have you. And if you like to drive, you could go out there and drive some folks around. A great community service out there. So, you know, if you're driving, if you're caregiving for somebody, there's these sort of resources. And then when we talked about this same topic on the radio the other day, we had a lady call in asking about some financial issues.
That's right, we did. We had a caller on our radio program, our live radio program that we do on Saturdays, and she called in because she was having problems regarding a security system that she had put in at her home, and she realized budget-wise she couldn't pay for it. She had written a letter as required by the contract telling the company she wanted to cancel her security contract. However, they continued to call her and bill her and harass her for this monthly monitoring fee, even though she had written them as required and told them that she wanted to cancel the contract. So she called into the radio program to see what else she could do, and I pointed her in a couple of directions. First and foremost, both Texas and Arkansas, through the State Attorney General's office, has a consumer complaint division. And so this consumer complaint division, there's a 1-800 number for each Attorney General, depending on which state you live in. And they also have an internet complaint form that you could fill out online. But That's exactly what it's there for. If you feel like a business has treated you as a consumer wrongly or fraudulently, then you can call the Attorney General's office or write to them and file a complaint against the business that is harassing you, and they will look into it. So that's one avenue. The second avenue is anytime you're dealing with someone that is issued a license under the state's power. So for instance, a general contractor's license for someone who does remodeling, or in this case, a securities license where the security system people have to have a license from the state. There is a particular department in both states that monitors all licensed occupations within that state, and you can also file a complaint against the license of whoever is you believe is in the wrong or is treating you unfairly. So those are another couple of resources there at the state level, but I guarantee you none of these folks want any trouble with the state, so I'm hoping that this security situation will be resolved shortly.
That's right. And those are just a couple of examples. There's plenty others out there, both nonprofit and government. And you might be wondering, well, okay, how do I get all this information? Well, in anticipation of that, Lisa and I have actually put together a community resource guide that has the addresses and phone numbers of all of these different organizations.
More. Yes.
From the Attorney General to the Area Agency on Aging to Opportunities and Alzheimer's. All of these different things are in our community resource guide. And if you would like a copy of it, all you need to do is swing by our office, our personal firm office at 1820 Galleria Oaks here in Texarkana on the Texas side, or you could give us a call over at the office at 903-223-5653, and we'll make arrangements to get you one. So it's out there, we've got the information, and it's good information, so seek it out there. And if you want more information, just keep watching future episodes of Aging Insight.
Right. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us for this week's Aging Insight program with John Ross and Lisa Schollmeyer. This program is made possible by